This series is about outstanding architecture from around America. From stunning residential to public spaces to commercial, this is an architectural deep dive to uncover the incredible stories behind each design. Welcome to America by Design. Our ByDesign industry experts had selected innovative, inspiring and award-winning projects.
I think it's so important to get the message out about architecture because not enough people understand that the world around them is made.
I think architects are thinking more comprehensively about the people and the communities that are impacted by their projects, and I think that makes for better work.
Let's get started with our first project.
Fairplay Cabin is a great project. It's not in the forest, but of the forest. It's like a geologic monolith rising from its site. And it's not too precious either because it's a family home and it's well worn and a place for generations to come back to again and again.
Boss Architecture in Colorado is celebrated for its high-end residential and hospitality design work. But this project is one of the founder's own properties. So the question is, how do you take those high-end design skills and apply them to a cabin in the mountains? Kevin, I've got to say, when you invited me to your cabin in the mountains, this is really not what I expected.
You didn't expect a tower?
I wasn't. I guess I was thinking something more low-rise and maybe of more earthy tones as well.
Well, that's more common, but those colors don't really blend in with the forest. I grew up in the Black Hills, and what I know is that the forest gets darker as you get further from it. So a black cabin recedes into the forest.
And what about the height?
In this kind of a location, you have to create constraints. And for us, the forest became the inspiration. The result is a small footprint and a tall form. Part of this design is creating different experiences. So in reacting and responding to the forest, we looked at the different strata and the levels of the trees. So we're at the undercroft at the lower level. At the two mid-levels, we're in the canopy and we have a more intimate experience. And the top level is really all about seeing above a sea of trees.
Now, I know you're used to working with constraints. I mean, even if there's a big budget, there's still constraints.
That's right. It took a while to sort of impose them on myself. One of our main goals on this project was to create as sustainable a solution as we could and enabled us to partner with Conundrum Technologies, who provided a photovoltaic system with 18 panels, producing 100% of our electrical needs year-round. Mike, you want to come help me open up?
Well, sure.
Let's go.
Oh boy, that mountain air. Who took the oxygen away?
That's Mother Nature treating you to 2 miles of elevation.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of oxygen at this elevation.
You mentioned about opening up. What does that look like?
Well, we have a ritual here, which is to sort of open up the giant shutters that sort of secure the cabin when we're away. And so one is here and one is there, and you're gonna take that wheel right there and start turning.
Really?
And I'm gonna do the same over here, and you'll see what happens here.
I guess I got enough puff.
Yeah, so as you roll these back, the shutters come open and the light comes in.
So you didn't think about garage door kind of technology where you push a button?
Up here you have to do it the old-fashioned way. We could have automated push buttons, but this is about living different than we do in the city. The spirit up here is you chop your own wood, you do things more manually, and that's intentional.
You've very much gone with a vertical design.
Yeah, we have embraced a small footprint and stacked the house vertically, and the footprint's really to reduce the impact on the land. That square footprint creates intimate spaces at every level, and creates different living experiences at every level.
And the black theme continues with the kitchen.
It's really meant to be sort of quiet and ambient in the background. We want the artwork and the colors that we bring to the space to be set off, not the kitchen itself. We achieved it with some great partners. Von Maud did all of our custom cabinetry. Colorado Stone did these amazing leathered Negresco granite countertops.
And even black faucets.
Even black faucets, yeah. We worked with Ultra Design on that, and you know, it takes a whole team to provide all these elements.
And it really is an open concept. I mean, I feel very connected to you here.
Yeah, well, that's intentional. These sleeping areas that you're on the third level are only contained by these heavy wool curtains that provide a little privacy.
Speaking of which, all this lack of oxygen, I think I might go and have a lie down. So Kevin, you do have a bedroom with a door and a wall.
We do. We have this one, and I said I like communal living. I just didn't say I liked it for myself.
I like how you roll. But really, the primary bedroom is all about this.
It is, yeah. It's taking the windows and creating an aperture, really framing this view, and taking those windows floor to ceiling and wall to wall. It frames this view of the mountains.
In fact, I'm seeing floor to ceiling all around the cabin. It's the same here.
It is, yeah. We've taken the closet system floor to ceiling, wall to wall, and really just made it disappear like a wood paneling. It just becomes a quiet backdrop to the bedroom. Even in our bathrooms, we've taken our tile floor to ceiling. We partnered with decorative materials and picked out a beautiful tile that we could wrap those rooms in. And again, just to simplify the design move and to create a quieter backdrop.
You know what else I like about the bathrooms? You've got one on each floor, which for us lowlanders is appreciated.
We're just trying to keep as much breath in you as possible.
Now, Jaime, Kevin commissioned you to do this piece.
He did.
One thing about it though, that I never really get to see it all at once. Is that intentional?
It was. I mean, that was the challenge with this piece, because each floor is kind of cut up with the staircase.
Yeah.
So we had to design around that. It kind of gives it a whole different feel, because rather than experiencing it from, 50 feet, 100 feet away, it's a little more intimate, and you kind of start asking more questions, and it lets you kind of experience things as you move through the house.
That's clever. I really love this little cutout here.
Yeah, it's like a perch. Most decks are added on, but this one we carved into the space, and it creates just a more intimate place to be.
And now that I'm up here, I can understand your levels, your curated experiences.
Yeah, each of the lower levels are more intimate, and once you're up at this sort of pinnacle of the house, we're above the tree line, and we get these vast panoramic views. We're revealing this as you sort of move through the cabin, and we're not showing all our cards as you walk through the front door.
So Kevin, you're a renowned architect, yes, but hearing you speak today and the work on this, you curate experiences more than anything else.
This place is a unique experience that we curated on multiple levels and really sort of embraced both the outward view and the inward view.
Yeah, inward, like the art.
Like the art, exactly. Where can you get up close and personal to a 40-foot high mural inside a residence?
Getting to not only design this piece because of the challenges, but being able to install a mural in this place, in this setting, and getting to contribute to such a beautiful cabin was a special moment.
And Trish, what about your man's work? He did all right?
He did great. It's gorgeous. This is the place we come on the weekends. It's our retreat from the big city. It's my quiet, happy place.
So what do you do when you've got 11 acres and you can do absolutely anything? Well, from what I've heard today, you create constraints, you curate experiences, and you challenge convention. And then you get a cabin in the woods.
The Sarasota County Fire Station provides a home for our first responders, but also must survive hurricanes. Its design is sustainable, but also beautiful. It emulates the Sarasota School of Architecture, which enriches the area of Sarasota and pays homage to its great history.
Sarasota is known for having idyllic beaches and amazing architecture. And the fire station I'm here to see pays homage to the past while also giving an eye towards the future, while at the same time setting a new standard for safety everywhere. So it's hard to talk about Sarasota without mentioning its rich architectural history.
Boy, that's so true. In fact, we're standing in one of my favorite properties in Sarasota. This is the Revere Quality House. This was a collaboration between Paul Rudolph and Ralph Twitchell. It was done in the late 40s. But this shows some of the principles of Sarasota modernism. The connection of the interiors to the outdoors with interior courtyards, large expanses of glass. And you're going to see how we are trying to do that as well. We're taking those principles from way back when, and we're trying to employ them in our projects as well.
Yeah, well, I'd love to see the firehouse.
Let's go take a look.
You know, I can already see how some of those principles are at play here. Indoor, outdoor, the experimentation with materials.
Yeah, the same way these architects in the 40s and 50s were experimenting with materials, we're also doing something similar now, 70 years later. We're looking at facade systems. This is a rain screen. It's glass fiber reinforced concrete. Creates a really good thermal envelope and also is a very resilient material. Early on in this project, we worked with a general contractor, Willis Smith Construction, who helped us evaluate these different materials and systems for affordability, constructability.
I mean, you mentioned the word resilient, so applicable here. I mean, this thing's got to hold up.
Yeah, I mean, very good point. Here we're standing at ground zero for where Hurricane Milton, was one of the 3 storms we had last year, came ashore. This building weathered that storm very, very well. I mean, very minimal damage. They were up and running the next day where the firefighters could work out of. It's a testament to the facade, which is designed for 170-mile-an-hour winds. That includes the exterior skin and facade, but it also includes the doors. In this case, we have Rainer overhead doors, which are able to meet the wind load and the forces that we saw in a storm such as Hurricane Milton.
You know, in order to be resilient, it means you've got to plan.
That's right, and a lot of resiliency planning has got to really start at the foundation. So in the case of the design of this particular building, we started with doing some computer simulated modeling for a 100-year storm event. So we try to calculate the amount of storm surge, the amount of soil erosion that we would have in that 100-year storm event. What that made us do was to dig the foundations about 8 foot deeper than we would normally have. But we felt confident that we were going to provide a resilient structure by doing that.
You know, we talked a lot about the effects that storms have, but how have the individuals informed some of your design decisions?
Well, when we're designing fire stations, we want to make sure that we're really designing an easy to maintain, durable, tough building. And so the choice of materials, for instance, concrete floors with a polished concrete like Sika Corporation provides, and then storage systems like Gear Grid, which are storage systems for bunker gear storage, designed by firefighters for firefighters. All these things are tough, they're easy to maintain. We want the firefighters to really save lives and not have to maintain this building.
So how has the design of this new building enabled your department to do their job better?
I think with the amount of space that we have in this station, our old fire station, that bunk room was probably not even the size of our kitchen here.
Sardines.
Yeah, so you were sleeping with your head to somebody else's head or your feet to their head. If somebody snored, whatever. And you couldn't necessarily get away from anybody. It's stressful. So I think it allows you to decompress as a person from different calls that we've seen or been on, and allows you to have your own personal space. Moreover that, we do 24-hour shifts at the fire station, so we spend a third of our life here. This is our firehouse, and it's something that you want to be aesthetically pleasing, something that you're proud of, something that you want to enjoy and say, hey, this is where I work.
Sometimes the most beautiful design is the most functional. And here we have a building that is rooted in resilience. And by making our emergency services more resilient, it makes everybody safer everywhere.
This project at Rockefeller Center for me really amazed me. Adam Ralston and his team really applied a steady hand to balance the history and the cues to help business people, tourists, and local New Yorkers make their way around this incredible destination. Rockefeller Center is just one of those places that makes New York spark. Now, sparks can dim. However, Adam Ralston and the team from Inc. have been working hard to make that spark reignite. Adam.
Hey Mike, good to see you.
It's good to be here, and I understand that this place is particularly special for you.
It is. I grew up in LA, came here at 11 with my family on a trip. My father and I actually ice skated here.
That's interesting. I think of you as a New Yorker.
Well, coming here that trip, that was what made me want to come to New York.
And now fast forward a number of years later and you've got the renovation gig.
We were thrilled and a little nervous. I mean, Raymond Hood's masterpiece.
Wow. Was he looking over your shoulder the whole time?
Mike, the whole time. I
mean, it's a bit like tinkering with the Eiffel Tower.
A little bit. Mike, first I want to show you my favorite room in New York City, which was the inspiration for the entire project.
Isn't it beautiful?
The Jose Maria Serret murals are amazing, but pay special attention to the marble columns here, the fluting, the bronze inlay, the black terrazzo. All these were ingredients that we reimagined downstairs. Should I show you?
Oh, please.
Mike, right now we're walking under 50th Street. That's why the structure is so low.
I don't want to think about it.
There's cars literally going back and forth above us.
How much of this is your design?
All us. Brand new, starting fresh, a total redo.
Okay. And I see that it opens right up here. And in fact, that looks really raw there.
Yeah, that's the original 1930s structure. And we thought it would be really nice to expose it, get more height in the ceiling, but also, have this juxtaposition between old and new.
Now I know you get a kick out of this.
I do. It was the big idea to democratize the rink. Originally there was a restaurant shoved against the glass, so only restaurant patrons got to experience the courtyard. We pushed all the restaurants away from the glass, allowed the public to circulate around the entire courtyard, and in a way democratize the courtyard.
Yeah, and you got the fountain.
It's such a special detail, it's so iconic. We took the actual fountain detail where the water is, flipped it upside down and turned it into a light coat.
That's classic Ralston right there. Now, did you design all the restaurants?
We didn't. We designed all of the storefront and facades and the outdoor cafe spaces, but the restaurants themselves, each was designed by a different designer, except for the main restaurant, which we designed, and I can show you later. The curves actually serve a function to help you know where to go, to clarify the circulation down here. And you'll see that reinforced by the light coves and then these bronze inlays by architectural metal fabricators. And of course, they're inset in this beautiful terrazzo by Zonka Terrazzo.
Okay, and I think I'm seeing your columns, your favorite columns from your favorite room upstairs.
Exactly. We thought of the cast limestone fluting that's throughout as sort of the column upstairs unfurled on the wall.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
And of course the bronze is everywhere, and this is one of my favorite details. You can see the stepping.
Yeah, yes, the fountain.
Flow from the wayfinding.
Yeah.
And the fluting from the column up in 30 Rock.
This is a time machine. I'm touching the 1930s.
Mike, as promised, the restaurant we designed. And probably the first and the last restaurant we will ever design without walls.
Okay, although that's a bit of a New York tradition.
It's true, it's true. I mean, think of the greats like the Oyster Bar Grand Central. But the real goal here was to open up the restaurant to the visitor that's here. And that includes the office worker, the tourist, the New Yorker.
And what about these columns? I assume they're weight bearing. I guess you were stuck with them.
That was literally the hardest thing about designing this restaurant. 8 columns coming from above, a 30-story tower, 30 rock above us.
Oh boy.
What do we do? So we immediately started thinking about encasing them in glass to lighten them up, lighting the glass from behind. And then when we were doing mock-ups, we discovered that the actual structural column was telegraphing through. And that's when we started calling them the ghost columns.
Ghost columns. Ooh, spooky. Greg, so how's the whole no walls thing working for you?
It's, in the beginning, it was quite difficult having these walls, but now that we've been here for a few years, it's probably one of our greatest components of the restaurant. It really helps show guests what we're all about from the outside.
Did you have to adjust how you work?
In the beginning, we were a little bit more fine dining and maybe a little intimidating at first glance from someone walking by. And now we know who our customers are. There are a lot of tourists traveling to see attractions at Rockefeller Center. There are people from the offices above us that want a quick lunch.
Yeah.
And so we adjusted the menu a little bit to fit those guests' needs. When we changed some of these details, we put a ketchup bottle. We put a little cute caddy of salt and sugar for coffee and a ketchup bottle on the table, which were an indication to a family of 5 walking past that there's something on the menu for them.
I can get something to eat there.
Yeah.
Okay, the power of the ketchup bottle. Drawing inspiration from the past with a firm grip on the present and an eye to the future, Adam and his design team have created a new experience here. One that the original architect, Raymond Hood, would, I think, approve and praise.
Washington, D.C. is one of our nation's prime examples of pairing iconic buildings with active open space. But even though this city is known as our seat of government for its wealth of museums and memorials, it is also a thriving collection of neighborhoods. The Southwest Library Project anchors just such a neighborhood and creates an incredible community resource that is a focal point for all its residents. What a wonderful neighborhood. It's very lush here, and I hear that Southwest has this incredible sense of community and history. How did that really play into your start of the design process?
I think we were fascinated by the history and culture within this neighborhood, including the mid-century modern architecture that we found. And we looked at that architecture and started thinking about what we could play into our design here, including the strong geometric form.
So the idea of linking to history gets paired with this unique opportunity of the park next door, beautiful mature trees. What happens next?
When we started designing the building, it was clear to us that we have to find the right orientation for the building. So the main approach and the main entrance should be along this pathway we're walking on now, which connects the building to the rest of the neighborhood. In addition to that, we had this amazing opportunity of having this park, and we faced all the glazing and the reading areas to the north side. People can see in and people can see out and get daylight at the same time.
And that orientation north, Kate, I know is not only about views, but probably plays into sustainability.
Absolutely. Those quality views, that abundant daylight that floods the space, those are really design strategies that we would employ on any project. Perkins & Will as a firm, we are so committed to our sustainable efforts. We have what we call our living design approach, and that's essentially an opportunity to leave the planet in a better place than we found it.
Kate, coming into the space, it's so open and airy, very, very inviting, and it's so clear how you've connected to the park.
That was really important to us. We wanted to blur that indoor-outdoor connection and celebrate this adjacency to the park. So things like our floor-to-ceiling glazing, we actually intentionally selected this flooring from Ardex to be a continuation of our landscaping materials.
I see it draws you right in and it welcomes you. And I bet the community feels very welcome here.
Oh man, the community has definitely been a part of this process. We engaged them during the design process to hear their needs and how they'd be using the space. You know, it's a very diverse community. People are coming and using it for different reasons. So laying the library out in a manner that's super intuitive to navigate was a really top priority.
Now, this wall invites me right away to the upstairs.
We wanted a wow moment when you first come in. So celebrating that double height opening at the stair with a feature wall was a big design opportunity for us. That's actually a historic image from DC Public Library's archives of Southwest. The waterfront is just around the corner. So it's a cool custom image that was printed on these perforated metal panels from Mohs, but it's also an acoustic strategy. Behind the perforations, there's an acoustic substrate to help absorb a lot of the sound that's generated in a public space.
What were some of the other strategies to accommodate things like acoustics?
Yeah, we had to get a little creative because we left so much exposed. You see these suspended acoustic ceiling baffles in certain areas, but the acoustic properties of the mass timber itself actually helps absorb a lot of the sound as well.
Nancy, I see things that I'm expecting in a library, a collection here, some study lounge areas as well, but this is so clearly not the library that I remember from my childhood.
What you probably remember is having opaque walls all around the building with very tall stacks of books. Today, we're thinking about libraries in a completely different way. We're prioritizing people, and we move all of those collections that used to be in the perimeter to the center of the space.
And somehow the shelving was actually instrumental to that balance, right?
It was. We work with shelving systems like SpaceSaver to figure out the ratio of collections, and we play with the height of those shelves as well. Thinking about daylight and views is very important. As we met with the community to design this library, one of the themes that came up was this idea of a sanctuary and creating amazing views to the outside, into the trees, and getting a lot of daylight into the space was paramount for us. And that experience of the people continues throughout the spaces around the library. We have spaces that are dedicated for patrons to meet, to gather, to connect with each other. We have small meeting rooms, we have event spaces, we have a maker space as well. So that was the goal for the project.
So Carl, I see some of that idea of referencing the mid-century modern here, but this is also much bigger than that. This is your big move right here, isn't it?
We worked extensively with Turner Construction on thinking about an idea that would really connect to the community. We talked extensively about the idea of the connection between the park and the building, the porch that you see here in the foreground, and then how that brought you into the building and made it a real community engagement experience.
The other striking thing is just the roof geometry and profile. How did you come up with that?
As part of the team, we brought in structure-craft engineering, and we brought to the table that idea that I told you about in terms of mid-century modern architecture and those strong geometric forms, and said to them, how can we do that in mass timber? I mean, you walk around here and you see how beautiful it is, how it takes you from the outside to the inside of the building and brings together a thoughtful composition that really reinforces this idea of a pavilion in the park.
Today's library is so much more than just a place to collect books or to hold reference materials for information. They are active places that anchor neighborhoods. They invite residents in to engage, and they provide a much needed sense of community. The Southwest Library Project does that in spades, as well as so much more.
We hope you've enjoyed our look at some of the finest architectural designs from around America. Join us next time for more groundbreaking architecture on America by Design. For more information on any of the projects featured in this series, go to bydesign.global.